which prospect do you think fans love the most? I think this is an interesting topic.
Mhm.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Majority of Pistons fans, I believe, are in love with Cam Whitmore. You'd say yes or no on that?
I feel like it's a three-way tie. Just from like the comment section, whether it's on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, I feel like Taylor Hendricks, I see more Taylor Hendricks comments than I do Cam Whitmore lately. And then you got to throw Jarace Walker. I feel like there's just like mini camps where they've kind of planted their flag, but I've seen way more Taylor Hendricks stands than I've have Cam Whitmore, Jarace Walker so far. But I can understand why, man. The guy's an athletic freak.
See, a lot of my followers on Twitter are higher on Jarace Walker and Taylor Hendricks, which I love. Those are my two favorites at 5. I had Cam Whitmore at number 3. But I do feel like a majority of – I always felt like maybe it's changed over the course of the week, though, because I felt like maybe at least as of last week before we recorded, Cam Whitmore seemed like to be the favorite at number 5. I thought – everybody wanted Cam. They were willing to overlook the assist percentage, like the lack of assists per game. They were willing to overlook the tunnel vision. He had he loves to go left. He is a great athlete. And I can get behind fans saying, if everything goes right, there's a clear path for him to be a star in the NBA. I see that because he's an athletic freak. He's like Hami with skills. He's an incredible prospect. But since you're saying Taylor Hendricks, why do you think fans are in love with Taylor Hendricks?
I think it's the shooting ability and the defensive upside. I feel like if you were to nitpick, it's just his handle isn't the greatest, but I don't need my forward to be a ball handler. I don't need him to be a primary ball handler when I have Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey on my team.
Exactly.
Yeah, so with Cam, I've seen a lot of comps. I've seen the Corey Maggettis. I've seen the Miles Bridges. I've seen all that, but I honestly think that the Taylor Hendricks crowd is getting louder and louder by the day. I did a mock draft. It wasn't my mock draft; it was Hoops Hype, and they had Cam Whitmore 5, and they had Hendricks 7, or I think 8, and then they had Jarace Walker 7. I think if you get one of those guys, you're golden, in my opinion, because all of them have their strengths, all of them have their weaknesses, and they each bring something unique to a basketball team that can help a core that is established.
So let's talk about Hoops Hype just for a second, and some of these other mock drafts, because outside of Hoops Hype, I think I've seen Cam Whitmore at 5 for the Pistons as well. Do you think that's just because those websites and those basketball analysts that are putting those together, they think the 3 spot is a weakness for the Detroit Pistons and that's why it's Cam? Or do you think it's more like, hey, this team lacks athleticism at a few positions, they need to become more athletic on this team to really push towards winning next season?
I think when you get outside of the top 3 and you have those conversations with Asar Thompson or a Cam Whitmore or any of those guys, I think you go best player available. I don't really think you're going for a position of need, and it just so happens that the best player available is one of those 3. It just depends on what you value more. If you value, a Swiss Army defensive just juggernaut, you're going to take a Jarace Walker. If you value more of an offensive game that it's ready right now in the NBA, you're going to take a Cam Whitmore. If you're banking for that potential just to get untapped and it's just going to be a freak, you're going to go with the Taylor Hendricks. Like I said, it depends what your cup of tea is. And like I said, I've seen more Pistons fans on that Taylor Hendricks bandwagon over the past 2 weeks than I've seen more of the Jarace Walker and the Cam Whitmore. And I can understand why. The guy's going to be a monster if he does develop.
Yeah, it's that defensive versatility for me, which we talked about on last week's podcast, which if you haven't heard, you can go back and listen to that one as well, who we have for, our 5 at 5. But yeah, I keep flip-flopping between Jarace Walker and Taylor Hendricks, and both of those guys have defensive versatility, and that's what it is for me. If those guys are giving me 14 points per game over a 6, 7, 8, 9-year period, that's cool. But if they can be potential all defensive players, that's what I'm after. That's what I see in both of those prospects. I have not been really on the Cam Whitmore train, but I don't know. Like maybe our Twitters are just a little different, you know. I thought I was seeing I did see a lot of Taylor Hendricks and Jarace Walker love. It just felt like a majority of Pistons fans were really on the Cam Whitmore train, though. But if you're saying Taylor Hendricks, I believe you, man.
Yeah, I like want to have conversations with draft prospects where it doesn't become like a war. You know what I'm saying? Like, like last year, it was like Jaden Ivey and Benedict Mathurin and Shaedon Sharpe. And like, if you talked about Jaden Ivey, people would like point out, oh, well, he's not a great 3-point shooter. Like, just in like, you can talk about a prospect without like, you know, being negative about it. Like, that's why I'm kind of hesitant to like kind of plant my flag on a certain prospect, because like, I just don't want that backlash, because I know there are Cam Whitmore stands. I know there are Taylor Hendricks stands, a lot of Taylor Hendricks stands. And I know there's a lot of Jarace Walker stands, and even got the Thompson's win stands. Like, I get it. But like I said, you're going to get a pretty good player at 5 if you do decide to keep that pick.